My name's Daryl. Originally from Scotland, but I came here when I was 2, and yeah, been living here ever since. Yeah, and I learnt my instrument here in Australia since 1972. Yeah, that says how old I am. Yes, what I do, I play bagpipes, they're a Scottish instrument, and I play electronic bagpipes. Because they're a bit quieter, I don't have to worry about the sound annoying people. When I play my traditional instrument, they're very, very loud, and so with the electronic ones, I can tune the volume down or turn it up, depending on the weather, depending on the area I work. And my instrument it's a traditional instrument, but yeah, I learnt it when I was at school. Yeah, so back when I was about 12. A few years, on and off. I'm part-time, probably about 8 years, something like that. But I used to do it when I was a kid, back in the day, like in the late 80s. I used to do it when I was a teenager, and just for part-time income. When I was at university, I finished busking about 91, in 1991, and then I decided to do it just for hobby and to pick it up again for part-time work. Just a little bit. It's not really, I wouldn't even call it work. It's just to keep myself in my instrument, because for about 16 years I never played. I gave it up, and I just never played for 16 years. So yeah, it's a bit like riding a bike. You put some practice in and you get back all the skill. Yes, many things. I've done movies, I've done commercials, television commercials, but when I do those sort of things, I have to wear my traditional costume. We wear a kilt, it's like a skirt, the Scottish outfit, yeah. So I do things like that, and I have to wear the hats and everything, But this is just for a bit of fun, I play just for, it attracts a bit more attention. There's a commercial, a Scottish amicable commercial done in the 80s. I did that when I was a teenager. But My Brother Tom, I think, is one of the movies, and the 4-Minute Mile. They were made in Australia. I think I was visible in the 4-Minute Mile with my other fellow colleagues. We were in a band playing Scottish traditional music. So there was about 25, 30 of us. But I think in that movie I was visible because we had to replicate the 1956 Olympic Games in Melbourne, and that was part of the atmosphere we were creating. And it was filmed at one of the grounds over in Olympic Park, in the original running track that was built there for the 56 Olympics. But that's, again, going back probably 1990 or something like that, or 89, but that's a while ago. But when I play the Scottish instrument, sometimes if I do a wedding, it's just myself. They want one bagpipe, and we lead the bride down the aisle, to get married, and then we play. When they finish, we play outside the church, or in the garden, or wherever they want us to play. It's usually we're hired by people who are Scottish ancestry or whatever, or they like Scottish music or Celtic music, and they want to have that type of sound for their wedding. It's just to add a little bit of culture and flavour, to the wedding, And sometimes it's birthday parties, but funerals. It's very typical, the instrument bagpipes in funerals and weddings. In a commercial, I don't know, just for novelty, But usually, it's a very. The bagpipes are in many cultures. The French, the Spanish, the Greeks. There's a lot of cultures that have bagpipes, but they're all different. They're a little bit different. The Germans, yeah. So in Germany they call it Dudelsack, which is unusual, and in Spain they call it the gaida or gaida. I'm not sure what they call it in Greece, but it's got apparently origins going way back many thousands of years. It's one of the oldest instruments. It goes way back to blowing through, just playing pipes, through like reeds. It's very ancient. No one really knows where it comes from, but it's an old instrument. Yeah, so it's and I think the bag is attached to make the blowing constant. So when I take a breath, you know, when I played my traditional version of the instrument, the sound is still coming out because I'm squeezing the bag and then I replace the air. It's a bit like giving it an effect that you're playing constantly. So it's a pretty unique instrument in that way. So yeah.
Just at Melbourne?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I play Melbourne, but yeah, but it's very common instrument all the way around the world. Very popular. Like in Melbourne, there'd probably be 2,000 or 3,000 people who play this instrument. You know, it's not as popular as guitar or something like that, or drums.
I see you are the only one to play it.
Yeah, because I don't know, it's a unique instrument in the way there's a culture even around my instrument where some people only like playing the real bagpipes and not electronic. And to play the real bagpipes, you're not really allowed to play in the streets that much because they're too loud. And they're also, you can only play for so many hours because it's very physical instrument to play. It's a bit like the trumpet or the saxophone. You can only play for periods at a time, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, and then you need to rest. You know, so when I used to play the other instrument, the bagpipes with the reeds, it was I'd be driving home and still get a sore heart. It was pretty physical. You know, I'd put in maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, and it's not very good for your health if you play that often. So people who play, they practice on a chanter, and then they only play maybe 2 hours a week on the instrument. You know, usually. Yeah.
I saw you played a long time.
Yeah. See, I can do it because these are electronic, so they're a bit easier. But some people think I'm playing a CD. They think I'm playing an MP3, you know. So they go, and then they see my fingers, and then because they think it's coming from a speaker. They think I'm pretending. You know. Yeah. So it's an interesting way to sort of get round playing for a long time. Yeah.
Have you performed for one day?
I don't know, probably 10 hours.
10 hours?
Yeah, probably. Maybe if I get here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I maybe finish at midnight with only a few rests. Sometimes I feel like it. I feel like playing, you know, some days.
Do you enjoy it?
But I've done that a few times, so yeah, it's a big day. But I just do it sometimes I do it just for fun, to see how far I can do it. Like stamina. Yeah. Endurance. Yeah.
How many times you go there?
It really depends. A few times a week, sometimes 4 days a week, sometimes I miss a couple of weeks. It's really when I can fit it in with, you know, with other things I'm doing.